wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, and I am here with Alex as my co-commentator for the night. How are you doing tonight, Alex?
I'm doing good, Tim. How about yourself, mate? How are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I am ready to watch the Tier 3 series from Barcelona for the Formula Euro League. Of course, we're going to have to go through qualifying first, a short qualifying session, just about 18 minutes here. So as we're waiting to arrive here at the paddock, what do you think of the track?
The track itself, it's a tricky one because a lot of the turns are very flowing into each other. I mean, when I think of Spain, I think of the first chicane into the long right-hander, and then you have the final chicane going down the hill to get you back onto the start-finish straight. So the track is very flowing, so you need to take a pretty good line to secure a good lap here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Now we're here at the paddock just waiting for the first driver to blink to come out onto the qualifying section. Here in just a moment.
It's going to be tough to see what tyres they come out on, because in the practice session I saw earlier this week, a lot of the drivers were focusing on medium runs. Not many drivers going out on the softs, as we see a Ferrari leave the paddock there. It is the Ferrari of APG Cortez, but also a lot of other cars coming out as well. But we'll wait to see for the first lap. But I mean, I don't know. There's loads of different tyres here. There's softs, hard, mediums, all on show. So we just have to wait and see what would be the best choice.
Yep, and you know, that's where I'm glad that we're just the commentators, because we're not faced with those choices, whether it's in qualifying or the race.
Yeah, me and strategy do not mix well, so I'm glad that we're in the box rather than having to deal with things inside the pit box. A little bit of a spin there from Cortez, but holds on to it. So we'll wait to see who's going to be the first round to come around to start their lap. It looks like it's going to be the Racing Point of KZ. So I'll stay on board with him. But as he comes down the final chicane now, hits the curve on the left, hits the curve on the right, up into hot lap mode on the ERS, takes the final turn well, opens the DRS zone. And here we go, the first lap of qualifying today. Heads down into the first chicane. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I think, I don't know who that is actually. I think it was Jake, but he's all good now.
Still watching KZ on his qualifying lap, just now going through the first sector, about to approach the second sector now. KZ so far, as he is the first driver to start his flying lap, so he has no one to beat. He will set the time to beat thus far. A yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2. It doesn't look like, in fact, there is somebody off the track. Can you say who it is?
I think it's Charles Leclerc, 82. He's in the Toro Rosso. He put it into the gravel trap, so he's going to have to rejoin safely, but he's got a whole gaggle of cars to come past him. He's still not able to rejoin. He does rejoin now, though, so a bit sketchy. Charles says he's disqualified. I've just noticed that Charles is disqualified. Probably for trying to rejoin the track unsafely, maybe.
Apparently the race stewards did not like what they were seeing from Charles Leclerc 82. However, KZ is coming through to complete his flying lap. Where will he end up? With a 1:18.585 once a few drivers make it back around.
I think SVDL as well is retired. I don't know if that was for a collision, because I saw to give out a penalty. I'm not sure who to. I will have a look now. A penalty to Instinct Energy, a collision with SVDL. So he's been given 5 place grid penalty. Charles Leclerc disqualified for the wrong way, for driving the wrong way, so obviously coming out of the gravel trap. And then SVDL, terminal damage. So that's going to be disappointing for the leader of the championship that he's not. He's going to have to start from the back of the grid.
Yeah, so already some bad luck for a lot of these drivers, as 3 drivers are out of this qualifying session. Just a little bit over 13 minutes remaining in this session, so we only have 5 drivers with the time on the board, and Jory goes very wide. He's currently second with a 1:19, but coming out of what looks to be about turn 5, he goes off into the gravel trap.
Into the gravel trap. I mean, that corner is definitely a hard one, especially with no ABS. If they're running it, you got to break down the hill, get the car turned in enough. But if you don't, you end up in the gravel and lose tons of time. But it's more dangerous in the races. Oh, the Haas puts it in the wall. Max P loses traction out of the fast right-hander, and that is going to be his qualifying session over, not able to set a lap. So that is going to be disappointing for the Haas. But it looks like a lot of cars struggling through the racetrack so far.
Now, is that something that you think we're going to see a lot of tonight in this race?
It's one of those ones where in qualifying you're obviously pushing to the max. You want to get the fastest lap time. So maybe they're just pushing too hard. But if you do crash in qualifying, I'd use that as saying, alright, this is where I'll push my limits. I can call it here during the race. So I think we won't see crashes from the same people, hopefully. Because it would be disappointing for them to come out tonight and try and come out, get a good result in the race, and just throw it away through some corners.
Yeah, it would be a shame. And, you know, the thing about the races versus qualifying, as you rightly said, is, you know, in qualifying, they're really just pushing hard into the max, whereas in the race, you really don't have to do that all the time. You can really just kind of get into a nice rhythm and run the race, because you got to finish every lap. You don't just need one fast lap, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's really good to get into a nice rhythm and maybe not shoot for fast laps, but just get a nice average lap.
Yeah, you probably want to get within a second of your qualifying lap. You don't want to be right on it. But say Cheika there, who's pole at the moment, you probably would be aiming for 119s on the soft during the race, just so he's not pushing too hard, but he's finding a good consistency. As it's shaky, he's pulling to the side of the road. I think he was letting the Ferrari through. I'm not too sure what he's doing here, but
I don't know, but just about a half a lap go, Harvkosh actually hit the wall, so he is out of this qualifying session too. So 5 drivers have DNF'd out of this qualifying session. Not sure what's going on, but apparently these guys are trying to get their bad luck out of the way early.
Yeah, definitely. But it's always a good place if you do want to get rid of bad luck. Get out during qualifying, because points aren't won in the qualifying session, they're all won in the race. So probably do want to get your bad luck out before the points come into play. Excuse me.
Just watching Raphael as he actually dives down to the pits. Currently his best time is a 1:21.3. That's good enough for 7th. It's Jake out on the Mercedes, but he is going slow, so apparently something's wrong with his car, or he's just not looking to set a fast time right now. Frosty Calvin, meanwhile, in 4th, a 1:19.7 is his best lap time on the board. He's going to be looking for something better, but right now on those hard tires, I don't know how much more he can get out.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about the different strategies. I mean, you obviously think, oh, soft tyres the fastest tyre, but they set you up on a bad strategy, especially in a 50% race. You could probably look for a one-stop here if you do the mediums to hards, but if you try and put a soft tyre on, it's definitely going to turn into maybe a 2-stop, because you're not going to be able to go from soft to hard all the way to the end. So you see drivers sticking with the mediums and hards, so we'll just have to see if anyone braves go out on the softs as yet. Jakes does pull into the pits here. Obviously he's either run out of fuel, because he's had that fuel logo on his car for a while now, so he's either run out of fuel or just going to change his tyres.
Meanwhile, Instinct Energy going through the 3rd sector gets a little bit loose, so he's not going to set a fast time yet. He doesn't even have a time on the board, so trying out those medium tires, he's going to have to go around one more time to try to get a time. So with 5 drivers out of this session, those 5 will start at the back. I was going to say that Truex looks like that he was going to try to gamble on the soft tires, but Of course, with him not setting a time, he will be able to start on whatever tires he chooses. Junior Spam, who is in the pits, looks like he might be thinking about it, but we'll see when he gets out to the track what tires he decides to go with.
Yeah, definitely. The softs are a tempting choice also. I thought Joey got it a bit wrong through the fast right-hander, but kept it on the rubber. Now it does get a bit loose out of the downhill left-hander through the chicane now. Oh, does get it a bit wrong. Oh, bit of a spin. Saved by the grass there is Joey. Because if there was no grass there and that's tarmac, he's straight into the wall. Luckily enough for him, the people who made this track were kind and said, let's put grass there instead of tarmac. So he's very lucky. But he'll be able to start another lap. He's on 1 lap old hard, so he should be able to come around and start another flying lap soon.
Yeah, just a little bit over 8 minutes remaining in this session, and Sesa is currently your provisional pole sitter with a 118.559. KZ in second with a 118.585. Fel Freeze in 119.2. That's good enough for third. Stain in fourth with a 119.4. Frosty Calvin in fifth with a 119.7. Jory on your screen, who's going into the pits, a 119.8. Jake in seventh with a 120.1. APG Cortez in eighth with a 121.1. Raphael with a 121.3, a 133.0 for Veteran on your screen. He's going to be looking to improve that as he goes through the third sector, approaching the final chicane. Will he make anything of it? We'll see in just a moment.
I mean, looking at the runners left, most of the drivers who have set times are the only drivers left. It's only Instinct and Junior Spam to set laps here, as I think that is... I don't know who that is. No, Junior's still in the pit, so he's probably waiting right till the end to come out once the track is worn down to set a fast lap. But I mean, this is a massive result for Chiesa, who's only got 10 points on the season so far, so a pole here would set him up for some good points during the race.
That it would. Currently watching Raphael as he's going to complete his flying lap. Currently on fresh medium, so he might have something in the tank here. Currently his best time is only a 121.3, but as he rounds the final corner and about to cross the line, where will he end up? Will he improve his time? Yes, he does.
Big improvement from in there, over a second up on his last lap, or he's on his previous best lap. So maybe he's found his rhythm around here, and especially on those mediums, he's qualifying ahead of Jakes, who's on the soft, so maybe he will switch on to the mediums as he sees the soft isn't his favourite tyre around here.
Currently watching Instinct Energy, who has started his flying lap. He is gambling on the soft tires, so maybe he's going to make them work. Let's see what happens, Alex.
Definitely, as he swings it round. Right-hander now, down into the downhill left. Difficult one to get right, but he seems to have the grip. And that's the one good thing about the softs, they do have the improved grip. That's why they burn down a lot more. As he goes through the chicane, hits the curbing on both sides. Now comes through the uphill. Fast right-hander gets that through, opens the DRS. Into the heavy braking zone, into the left-hander. Again, hits the curb, beautiful exit. He's keeping the car really planted here. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Well, there was a yellow flag, I don't know if it's been cleared now. So he goes for the right-hander, follows through the chicane into the last turn on the circuit. What will the time be? Looks quick. 116, 117. It's a 118.3, and his gambit pays off. He is sitting on pole at the moment, and that is, if you're on the softs, that's where you want to start. There's no other place you can start other than that, really.
A really fast time from Instinct there, but will Veteran have anything for him as he's currently on his out lap? And I do believe that David is currently on a flying lap, so we're going to take a look at him as he rounds the final corner, bypassing the pit entrance. He'll cross the line. Where will he end up? Fifth with a 119.3, also on the soft tires.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lap from David there. I mean, massively improved on his last one. So I don't know if he, bailed on his last lap or if he just got it completely wrong. But whatever happened, he will take that lap ahead of Stinge and Calvin and Jory, who is second in the championship. He would definitely take that result.
Luckily for him, though, is that it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So 5th is still not a very bad time, and he does have time to pit and go out for another lap.
I'm just trying to see what happens with Freeze, because either he was crashed out or he seems happy with his time in 4th. But 119.2, he's the 2nd fastest runner on the mediums, so maybe he is happy with that time. So he'll just have to sit and wait for the next 3 or 4 minutes for people to finish their final runs. See if he keeps that 4th place.
And veteran Rockets do 4th with a 119.2 on the soft tires. So now we're seeing a lot of drivers try to go for the soft tires and try to go for that track position, sacrificing, of course, their time out on track in their first stint. So what would you do? Would you go for the medium tires, or would you go ahead and gamble and try to get track position?
I think the thing is, the softs are proven faster than the mediums. I mean, we see with the lap times here, 3 out of the first 4 as Veterano does go quicker than Freeze into 4th. The 4th for the top, 3 of the top 4 runners, are on the softs. So the softs are definitely proven quicker. But it's whether you can keep that pace throughout the race, because the tyres are going to drop off quicker. You're going to have to do that extra pit stop. So you're going to have to go soft mediums, and if you do have the pace on the softs, I would say gamble it, because you get better position in qualifying, and it's just about keeping your pace consistent. When if I don't feel confident in my pace, his instinct goes fastest there. Or does he go fastest? Or someone's on the softs. I don't know what's happened. I think Jack has gone on the softs. Excuse me, sorry about that. As I was saying, if I don't feel confident in my pace, I would definitely go on the longer tyre, so I not make that extra pit stop, saving me about 20 seconds. So it's whether these drivers are confident in their pace or not to make the soft tyres work.
And one could argue that if not a lot of drivers behind you go for the soft tires, that you're at a bit of an advantage, because even though you'll have to pit sooner, if your car is fast enough, you can use that to try to get out to a bigger lead. But that's still a big ask, and a lot of times I've seen more than not is that these drivers are more or less equal, because even right now what we're seeing is only a 2/10 difference, 2/10 of a second difference between Instinct and Sesa, and the qualifying session isn't even over yet. So I don't really think that would be too much of a factor, but as you said, it's just the fact that the soft tires are quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just the more grip you get from the softs means you can take corners faster, you can brake harder, so it just gives you an advantage on track. But in the grand scheme of the race, it does set you back a bit. But it seems a lot of the drivers have gone onto the softs, so maybe drivers do believe the 2-stop is faster than the 1-stop.
And it looked like Jory just rocketed to 2nd while you were saying that. So 118.4 for Jory on the medium tire. So he's showing that he's fast even on the mediums. He is challenging for the pole on the medium tires.
Yeah, Jory during the practice session Thursday was lightning quick on the mediums. Casey, massive lap, a 117.6 on the soft tyres. That is a humongous lap from him. I mean, I was just talking about Joey being massive in practice session, getting about, I think he got a 118.3 on the medium, so he definitely has pace on it. But Casey on the softs with a 117, that is humongous. He's got to be feeling confident now that he's got the pole.
I'd say he does. I know I would. So a really good run from Casey, and as you rightly said, a 117. So he's the only driver thus far to break into the 117s, and he might be the only driver. Watching Jory right now as he finishes his lap, the qualifying session is over, so Casey might be your pole sitter unless Jory has anything for him as he crosses the line. No, he does not, so Jory will stay in 3rd at least with a 118.4. Going to take a look at Sesa, who's finishing his qualifying up now. Where will he wind up?
I think he got it a bit wrong on the last turn. He dipped his tyre into the gravel trap, so maybe lost a bit of time there. But I mean, he'll be happy with that. He will be happy with that, because it means he does start on the softs. So maybe not the best from him, as he didn't gain a position. So he will be disappointed with that, because he had the pace on the mediums. He probably could have stuck with the mediums. but decided to change up. So it will be Joey, the lone medium runner, or with Stingy as well. So both Williams actually gonna stick with the mediums. So they're definitely having a discussion to say what they thought would be the best strategy, and they obviously decided on the mediums.
Yeah, and it obviously did Joey very well, sitting in third and staying back there in sixth. So really the Williams driver starting very close. So I'd say there's going to definitely be a lot of communication there. And Joey is the highest driver on the medium tires. So we're going to see how that works out for him as we just wait for the qualifying session to officially come to an end. And there it has. So momentarily we will be taking trackside for the start of the race.
I am looking forward to it. But here are the results from qualifying. So KZ on pole in the Racing Point. Instinct will start back in 7th with his 5-place grid penalty for a collision with SVDL. Joey will then get moved up to 2nd. David up to 3rd in the Mercedes on the softs. Ciesa moves up to 4th. Shinji will move up to 5th on the mediums. So there are your top 5 runners.
It looks like we're going to have a dry race, so I'm sure the drivers are happy with that. They don't have to worry about slipping and sliding everywhere looking for grip.
Yeah, definitely. Driving in the wet is not something you want to do, especially I did a few practices before just to see what kind of lap times should be done on each tyre, what the best strategy is. And I got a wet one-shot qualifying, and I'll tell you what, it was not fun through that right-hander. Because you're slipping and sliding everywhere, you've got no grip, and it is a painful sight to see your car just drift off to the left of the track trying to get the traction down.
And that right-hander is going to be a place that we're going to have to take a look at, because as we saw Max spin there in the qualifying session, I hate to say, but there might be some drivers that follow in his lead and spin there during the race as well. It's just one of those corners that's so very hard to master, because if you just barely clip the gravel, you go a little bit too far in that runoff area, you're already done for.
Yeah, I mean, that's with any gravel trap. You dip one tyre in and it's curtains for you. You're not going to get much further. You're not going to be able to get the power on, or you are just going to end up beached in the sand, in the gravel. So they're going to look to avoid that and try and keep it on the tarmac as much as possible.
So to just update you on the qualifying order, and this is how they will line up, is KZ in first, Joey in second, David in third, Ciesa in fourth, Stain in fifth, Raphael in sixth, Instinct in seventh after that 5-place grid penalty, APG Cortez in ninth, Cortez in 8th, Veteran in 9th, with Freeze in 10th. 11th is Frosty Calvin in the Red Bull, the Mercedes of Jake in 12th. 13th is Harvkosh, Max P in 14th, Trex in 15th, SVDL, your points leader, in the 16th position. 17th is Junior Spam, and Charles Leclerc, 82, from the 18th position. Almost a full field here as Casey's rounding the final few corners in this third sector, and momentarily we will have the start of this race.
I'm looking forward to the start. It's always a hectic one down into the first chicane. It really is. Whoever gets the best start normally will lead into the chicane, and from there carnage can happen. Casey will take his slot on the starting grid. It looked like 2 drivers were disqualified from the formation lap, so they will hope to right their wrongs in the race. So we wait for the grid to reform here.
Looked like Casey just got a little bit further out ahead of him. He's getting a little bit of a head start here.
Yeah, he definitely didn't want to hang around. He wants to get this race started. He's starting on pole, and you don't really want to hang about, let your tyres freeze up. But I think that's what the other drivers were hoping was going to happen. So, as the grid reforms here, we've got yellow flags in sector 3 somehow. But we have 1 red light, 2 red light, 3 red light, 4, 5 red lights, and away we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. And they head down to the first corner now. Casey regains his lead. He keeps it off the start. The Mercedes looking for a move up the inside of Jory. That's David. The Mercedes of Chiesa around the outside. Gains a position, I'm pretty sure. Instinct rising up the positions up to 5th, so nearly back where he started, now 4th. And I think David's had a crash. I think David has crashed out. I'll have a look. I think he got spun round. Oh, there's a Williams round. Stingy in the mediums. He did so well to qualify so high up, and his race ruined straight away. But we'll go back on board with Casey, the leader. So it is Casey leading from Jory on the mediums, then Chiesa in 3rd, then Instinct Energy in 4th after his 5 plates grid penalty, so he's done well to recover so far. Cortez and Freeze, both Ferraris, back together. Oh, massive crash! Mercedes in the background, and that is it's Jake, puts it into the wall. And as you were saying, Tim, you know, will we see more of the crashes in the race? And we've seen an identical copy of what happened to the Haas there.
Yeah, and very unfortunate.
That is very unfortunate. So there is a virtual safety car. So as the grid looks to stay the same after the first lap, Casey leads from Jory, Chiesa in 3rd, Instinct in 4th, Cortez Freeze 5th and 6th. Gosh, oh, Instinct's gone into the pits. Instinct has gone into the pits, so he's obviously seen the virtual safety car and thought, maybe I can get a free pit stop out of this. But I think he might have got that wrong, with the virtual safety car not lasting as long as he may have wished.
I believe you're right about that he did get it wrong. He's just dropping really far down the grid, all the way down to 15th. So, going to take a look now at Jory, who's challenging Sesa for the 2nd position. Jory on those medium tires, so he's showing that he is very fast. Sesa, on the other hand, looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with his car, and he's dropping back as Jory is only half a second between them. In front of Sesa, Casey is out to a 2.3 second lead already.
I mean, Jory's race at this stint is not going to be, let's gain positions, let's get the lead. His stint is just be consistent, keep the tyre wear low, make sure you keep it on the track, and just don't get any stupid penalties. As there is a full safety car, so Instinct, after coming into pit for the mediums the lap before for the VSC, ends up getting a safety car, so he has pretty much solidified his position in 15th, but he might gain as now Chiesa will go into the mediums. So Jory's strategy maybe now not paying off as much, as there is a free pit stop for some of the drivers. But Casey decided to stay up, so the leader playing for track position here, as he thinks he has the pace to make the 2-stop work, obviously.
And Harvkosh, he was missing a front wing, and then going into the pits, it looks like he hit the wall. So he is out of this race, the second DNF rather of this race. So unfortunate for Harvkosh there in the Red Bull. That only leaves Frosty Calvin out there for the Team Red Bull. So it's going to be very interesting for them, and not a good point stick.
No, I mean, Red Bull definitely need to pick up some points. They're 4th bottom in the driver's standing, in the constructors' standings even. And I mean, Alfa Romeo, if they pick up some good points here, well, I think Vettorino, who's in the Alfa Romeo, if he gets some points today, which he is on the medium, so if he's able to bring up the pace after the safety car, he should be able to maybe jump Red Bull in the constructor standings.
Yeah, Vettorino currently running in the 12th position. And going back on Instinct Energy, he has gained a little bit. He is now running in the 10th position, so he's right there in the points-paying position. So good job on Instinct Energy. Maybe that pit stop with the safety car, maybe that didn't hurt him as much as maybe we thought, because he got lucky with the full course safety car.
I think it's the power of hindsight there. As when we first look at it, pitting under the virtual safety car, it's not something you really want to do if you want to gain positions, because yes, there is a delta, but it's not like they're going as slow as a safety car would. It's not like they're going to bunch up or wait for you. They're going to go as soon as they can go. So I think he has gotten lucky with the full course safety car, but you know, you can't win races without a bit of luck, and you definitely can't win points without a bit of luck. So he's made the right strategy choices. Casey now comes into the pits, so he's dropping back. Oh, and someone's lost their front wing. I think that's the Alfa Romeo Vettorino. Yeah, he's got 5-second penalty as well for contact with Instinct Energy. So he's lost. I think he's lost an end plate. Yes, he's lost his left end plate. So he's going to find it hard through the downforce section to get it all right. But he will have to make another pit anyway. He can't go to the end on the medium, so maybe when he comes in for the hards, he will switch out his wing. But it's definitely a tough one to call at the moment, because everyone's just been given a free pit stop after that safety car.
Yeah.
So now it's anyone's game.
Yeah, and Vettorino's going to have to hope for at least one more safety car lap here. Not sure what's going to be the decision here. I don't know if the safety car is coming in this lap or the next lap, because the field has caught up with each other. But if we do have one more safety car lap, then Vettorino will have really lucked out and he won't lose a lot of track position. But if not, then he's going to have to pit and change that front wing, and he'll be all the way back in 14th. Yeah,
he'll definitely be put to the back of the grid. As you know, yeah, safety car is in this lap from the stewards at race control. Safety car is in this lap, so before the restart, the positions are Jory in first with a good strategy to start on the mediums. Then it's Cortez and Freeze, both Ferraris, a 2-3 at the moment. That'll be massive for the constructor standings, as they're already top, and they'll just further increase their lead. Rossi Calvin in fourth on the hard tyres, so is Freeze, sorry to say. Oh, Charles Leclerc has just been given a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Calvin, so obviously got too close to him, and he's lost his end plate as well. So a lot of drivers losing their end plate. But as we get ready from the restart from Joey here, he's going to wait till he gets out of the final corner here, and off he goes. He catches the Ferrari napping of Cortez, and now the two Ferraris side by side heading down into the first corner, right behind each other now. Oh, what is going on? It's mayhem down into the first corner, but everyone gets through cleanly, I think. Yeah, everyone does get through cleanly, so no one crashing out right after the safety car. But good restart from Joey as he caught the Ferrari of Cortez lacking there, was able to build a bit of a gap.
Riding on board with the Williams of Stain, watching this battle with the two Ferraris in front of him. Going to ride on board with the Red Bull of Frosty Calvin now. Looks like Cortez is starting to get out to a little bit of a distance away from Freeze. Of course, Cortez now starting to catch Jory just a little bit. He's right up on the back of him, going through the uphill right-hander. Jory goes a little bit wide, but does not clip the gravel, so that's a good decision on Jory's part there. So hanging on to the first position so far is Jory. Will he be able to lead this lap? Looks like Cortez is really putting the pressure on him, though. Both drivers on the medium tires, so they're going to go about the same distance here in this first stint. The drivers behind them are on the hard tires. Jory going through the grass just a little bit there, but I don't think his car has gotten too upset, as he's still holding the lead through this final chicane, and rounding the final corner, he will lead this lap.
Oh, SVDL, massive moment there on the hard tyres. He looks to get down the inside of Instinct through the chicane, touches his side pod, gets into a half spin, and now Casey on the mediums looks to speed past him with the Racing Point, and they'll be side by side down into the first corner, and the Haas of Max P wants to get involved, and no, he's not deep enough to get the move, so Casey does gain a position on SVDL. I think has there been a crash?
Yes, there has.
The Racing Point of Raphael puts it into the grass and the gravel after the second turn, so it's going to be a bit of a recovery drive from him now, but he is on the hards, so he will have the pace in the second stint on all the medium drivers right now.
Currently riding on board with SVDL, watching this battle between Casey and Instinct just ahead of him, going through that uphill right-hander. All drivers very careful to stay away from that gravel. Casey thought about maybe making a move, but he's just not quite close enough to Instinct Energy at the moment. Going to ride on board with Casey now, as he's was looking on the inside of Instinct Energy. He got a better line through that corner than Instinct did. However, Instinct got a better exit, so he's pulling away from the Racing Point machine now, but he has the Mercedes of David in his way, so he can't go too far without getting by that Mercedes first. David actually getting a little bit loose there coming out of the final chicane and around the final corner. Instinct Energy still trying to get by David, and with the help of DRS, he would be able to do it, but I don't believe it is active just yet.
Our DRS has just been enabled this lap, so if they come round and they're that close again for the next lap, you will sure to see some moves down the straight. I think that is Raphael who's coming to the pits for an early pit stop, so his strategy out the window now. Going for the one stop if he has to change. What's he changing? He's getting a new front wing here. And he's fitting the medium, so he might go medium from here. It would be a tough strategy to work, but if he's able to find the pace, he could do it. So we're on board with KZ. He will have DRS. Oh, he touches Instinct! Instinct goes round. And that is not what Instinct would want. That's not what KZ would want. He definitely did not mean to cause that. And Instinct is going to be angry about that one, isn't he, Tim?
Oh, he definitely will. It looked like Instinct just went a little bit slower through that corner than KZ did. KZ got a better exit, and he just had the momentum, got into the back of him, and around went Instinct. So unfortunate for him. KZ, though, he also lost a lot of time with that. He's now 1.7 seconds behind Max P. So definitely not where KZ wants to be, and he might even have some wing damage. I don't see any visible wing damage, but there might be some very minor wing damage that could be hurting the handling of that car as well. So unfortunately, a costly mistake from KZ's part on Instinct Energy. So we'll see how they can recover throughout the course of this race. Going to go back and join the battle for the lead between Jory and Cortez, as it looks like it's starting to heat up a little bit there.
Their pace is pretty much the exact same. The gap hasn't increased or decreased, but maybe with the help of DRS here. Cortez gets the left hander wrong, goes a bit wide, now through the right hander going into the DRS zone. Keeps it in 5th gear, now into 6th, opens DRS, and I think, has there been another crash? Yeah, David, what's happened to David? David's lost his entire front wing, I'm not sure where, but he has lost his entire front wing, and now he's going to have to trek back to the pits, and I think, is that KZ going slow? No, KZ's fine, but there is another virtual safety car out on track. So, a lot of safety cars in this race so far. Cortez! Cortez is round! Cortez gets it all wrong under the virtual safety car. Through the last corner. Or heading up to the first corner. And that is going to be disappointing for Cortez because he had the pace. And he's now going to have to try and get past the McLaren, the Williams, and the Red Bull of Calvin Stingy and Ciesa, respectively. As David gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So to make his troubles worse, without a front wing, he's also got to pay 5 seconds for it. But look, I'm going to ride on board with Cortez here to see if he has got the pace to keep up with the battle. Because Joey's going to feel like he's got free room now. He's only got the 2 hard runners behind him, of Freeze and Calvin. So he's definitely going to have the pace on him. And it's just about now, as I said before, staying consistent, not making any rash decisions, not turning in too early for a corner.
Yeah, riding on board with Ciesa just behind Stain there. Looked like Stain was a little bit slow through that last set of corners that allowed the McLaren to gain up on him a little bit, but just can't seem to pass him yet. Wasn't close enough through the DRS zone that time, but maybe once they round the final chicane here in just a couple corners, Ciesa might be able to make a run on him going into turn 1. It just depends on how he gets through this next set of corners. Stain, though, he looks like he's starting to gain his speed back a little bit and pulling away from the McLaren now. So Stain just trying to do everything he can to keep away from that McLaren and put a little bit of breathing room between the two. As they round the final corner, Ciesa will be within DRS range, but I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough to make a move by the time they get to turn 1. Using that slipstream and the DRS to his advantage, but just not close enough to make a move.
Yeah, I think he's lucky they had the DRS there to keep Cortez behind, because Cortez is right on his tail, just 300 or 3 tenths behind him. But I mean, dirty air is a massive factor around the F1 tracks this calendar, and it's been a big factor for a while now, as I think Cortez locks up there through the right-hander, so gives Chiesa a bit of a chance to get away. But as I said, dirty air massive, so you can't really follow behind a car that long. You need to get the move done. But you're going to get a lot of understeer, so you will want to get the move done as I ride on board with Cortez into the next CRS zone, down into the long left-hander. Okay, so I think got it a bit wrong out of the fast right-hander. He now closed up massively. So this is brewing to be a good battle for fourth here. So I'll ride on board with Stingy.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a 3-car battle for the 4th position. Gonna go back, though, for just a moment and check back on Max P versus SVDL. SVDL, of course, your points leader going into this race, running in 7th right now in the Toro Rosso. Max P, just a few corners ago, was getting very close to the back of him, but now SVDL has managed to put just a little bit of distance between the two, and Max is now going to have to deal with KZ very soon, who is coming hard in that racing point machine.
Yeah, KZ setting fastest laps after faster laps. His pace has been ballistic so far, and you could think maybe he got the strategy wrong pitting the lap after the safety car. Maybe he was already past the pit stop, so we'll have to see about that at a later date. But he's gonna try and battle his heart off to get back into the top 5. Maybe with the pace he's got, he probably could challenge top 3 perhaps.
Checking back now on the battle between Sesa and APG Cortez. And Sesa going through that uphill right-hander. He got a little bit in the gravel, got a little bit loose, but was doing a good job of hanging on to it. That did allow the Ferrari of Cortez to get just a little bit closer to him, though. Stain, meanwhile, holding very good in 3rd as we're now under a safety car.
Yes, I think it was David VH who has just put it through the right-hander, as I said, for troubles. Became more troubles as he lost all his front wing, then had to trundle back to the pits only to get a 5-second penalty. So I think he'd lost all frustration. His old veteran there gets a 3-second penalty for skipping or cutting the corner there through the fast right-hander, so he's going to be disappointed about that as he's 20 seconds back on instinct. But a lead change here as it looks like Freeze is going onto the softs. And so is Scielsa, so I don't know what they've seen in the strategy, but they must believe that the softs are a good tyre to go on for this part of the race. As Jory comes back out on the hard, so it is SVDL, your points leader, who leads the race, a 3rd of the way through it. Then Max P behind him, then KZ, so the battle for 8th, that team you were just watching, has now become the battle for the lead of the race.
I'm sure SVDL will enjoy that. He might be able to pad his points lead after this race. Of course, being on the hard tires, we do expect him to pit quite later than the rest of the drivers. Nonetheless, though, the safety car will allow him to maybe stay out for just a little bit longer because it's not going to cause the tires to wear down just as quickly as it would under racing conditions. However, I am very surprised by the move to take soft tires, as you mentioned, from both Freeze and Sesa. I don't understand what exactly they're thinking. Maybe they know something that we don't, but I just don't really see a scenario where they're going to be able to make those tires last for this approximately 17 laps that they're going to have to once we go back green.
I mean, I can tell you, no matter how dumb you may be with F1, soft tyres are not lasting 17 laps around Catalonia, so maybe they're banking on another safety car. We've had 2 already, so maybe there definitely will be a 3rd. So if they can get this stint out on the softs, when the next safety car, if it does comes out, they can blitz on these softs and get a free pit stop, basically.
The only thing that I'm thinking is that maybe they're just trying to gain a little bit of track position, but as you rightly said, there's just no way that those tires are going to last until the end, so they're going to have to make at least one more pit stop. It's just such a surprise to see him try to gamble on that strategy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the fun of F1 racing, you never know. People on so many strategies now. I mean, we've been spoiled for choice now. Back in the day, I remember F1 2014 or 13, where you just had option and primes. There was no real big strategy. It was either you go on the options or primes and you get to the end of the race.
And how far we have come. Currently, we've still got 2 drivers, though, trying to find their way back to the field here. So, momentarily, we might be able to go back green, but likely having one more safety car lap.
I mean, Charles Leclerc 11 seconds back, Raphael 17 seconds back on that. They will probably go for another lap to allow them to catch up, but that will probably be the last lap as the driver's weaving down the back straight. So, your order at the moment, SVDL, the points leader, sitting in the lead of the race on the hards, Max, followed by Max P in second in the Haas. KZ, after starting pole, is in third after a bit of a misfortune with some pit stops. Jory in fourth, your effective race leader after the next pit stop stint, who has gone out on the hard, so he's going to try and last the end. Freeze out on the softs in fifth in the Ferrari. Calvin in sixth, the lone Red Bull there on the mediums. Cielsa on the softs as well in the McLaren. Stingy in eighth in the Williams on the hard tyres. Cortez, the second Ferrari, in ninth on the hard tyres as well. Veterano 10th with a 3-second time penalty, so will effectively be 12th at this moment in time with that 3-second penalty. Instinct in 11th on the hards. Raphael, who had a misfortunate crash just at the section he's going past now, in 12th, and then Charles Leclerc 13th.
So with SVDL and Max P running first and second on the hard tires, how long do you anticipate them trying to stretch this out before they decide to pit?
I mean, if you got to think, the hards got to go longer than the medium, so the hards won't go any less than 17 laps. They will, so I'd say, I mean, Casey's on 10 lap old mediums, so, and he didn't come into pit. So I'd say if you can push the hards to 20 laps and then get a good 13 or so push him more for another 6 laps. Oh, not another. Yeah, another 6 laps. Get on the mediums for 13 laps. Maybe even because of the 2 safety cars, push the hards even longer. Get to 23 laps. So there's 10 laps left. Get on the mediums and try and hash out some quick times. Or even if you can make the tyre wear last long enough, go onto the softs to get a last blast, like Freeze is doing at the moment.
See, that's what I was thinking, is that on the hard tires, if you could just make them last, about 10 more laps or so, then you might even be able to afford to pit for the soft tires after that. So SVDL and Max P will see if it works out for them or not. They'll lead the field off as they round the final chicane, and rounding the final corner, the safety car is already in. So we are back green for the Spanish Grand Prix for the Formula League Tier 3 Series.
And again, look, I think Jory is already trying to get up the inside of the Force India, but no, the Ferrari will freeze on the softs. Massive slingshot off the final turn to get up into third, and he's making the softs work. As a Red Bull Calvin looks to go around the outside of Jory. No, he can't get the move stick. That would have been a fantastic move for Calvin. But Jory effectively has lost the race lead, or the provisional race lead at the moment, with Freeze on the softs, but he would definitely have to come in and pit again. He will not last to the end, but after the restart, SVDL still leads from Max P. Freeze with a massive slingshot off the final corner on the softs, and he's already attacking Max on the 12 lap old hards. I'm gonna go on board with Freeze to keep an eye on him, make sure if he can get the passes onto the back straight. He's got the faster tyres. He's alongside the Haas driver. Up the inside, no contact made. gives him the apex and gets the move done. Freeze is a man on a mission here. He is not stopping until he's in the lead, but I think SVDL will have something to say about that. He will want to get the elbows out. So as they round through the final chicane, no DRS of course. Goodness for SVDL there, as he won't have to panic about Freeze getting insane speed, but he does have the slipstream. So as they go into first corner, SVDL takes a wider line to defend. All Freeze nearly in the engine of SVDL there, probably would have lost a bit of his front wing, so lucky he avoided it.
Yeah,
as he goes onto the green run out. Sorry, you were saying, Tim, my apologies.
No, you're fine. But what we're seeing here is just that huge difference that we were talking about the soft tires just being so much quicker. We'll see how much and how long Freeze can ride this train out. Lap 16 of 33 here. SVDL, though, doing a good job on those hard tires to hang on.
And yeah, I mean, as you said, you know, the difference between softs and hards, you saw it on the final turn after the safety car restart. Freeze going the exact same speed as all the other drivers, but just has the grip on the softs to, you know, get the best traction here. As I think there's a glitch on Freeze's car. Well, there's a glitch certainly for me. He's stuck at full rev, so I'm gonna leave that to not hurt my eardrums. But we'll go on board with STDL instead to keep an eye on this battle, as I think DRS will be enabled from this lap. Yes, it will be. Raphael has another penalty to put onto his miseries. Cut the final corner, I think. But oh, the McLaren of Ciesa goes down the inside of Stingy. He's on the hard. Oh, big battle there. Ciesa got the elbows out, and now Cortez could look to, you know, gain from this. As Stingy may be a bit flustered from that attack from Ciesa. The stewards might want to have a look at that.
Yeah, Ciesa, though, he's a man on a mission. Cortez trying to do the same. And just in front of them, I saw Joey and Frosty Calvin going at it. Looked like Frosty Calvin going into turn one was going to try to make a move on Joey, but thought better of it. So Joey still going to retain the fifth position, and Frosty Calvin in sixth as they're now through sector 2 and through a DRS zone, but Frosty Calvin not close enough to really make a move with it. And he has the McLaren of Ciesa behind him that he's going to have to worry about here very shortly, because Ciesa gained a lot through that DRS zone, and he's the other driver that took the soft tires. So he's a lot faster than Calvin, at least for the time being, but for how long is going to be the big question.
Well, I think that's what we saw from Ciesa on Stingy in the first corner. He wanted to get the move done quick, so he got out of the hard tyre, got past them, as I said before, when I think, who was it in second? Someone in second made the move on Joey in the first lap, and I said that's fine for Joey. He's on the slower tyre, he doesn't need to stay ahead. He just needs to stay focused on his consistency, which is what he's going to try and do with Calvin, and Ciesa, he's joining the party behind him.
Frosty Calvin so far, he's been running a really good race, just kind of maintaining around the top five. Gets a little bit loose there and into Ciesa.
Big moment there for Calvin. Touches the grass, and now Ciesa, great avoidance from him, but he gains a free position. He'll be licking his lips now, as he has the hard of Joey ahead of him. And now Calvin's got to do his best to hold on, but he will have DRS down the back straight. Ciesa did get it a bit wrong here. Would he go for a dive bomb? No, he won't. He's not Max Verstappen. He will not try and send it down the inside, as it looks like it's going to be a tasty battle between Ciesa and Calvin. Both on the same lap old tyres. Calvin on the mediums though, so will have more life in them, but Ciesa on the faster softs. As you just see out that final corner, the exit, the softs get.
Yeah, it looked like he gained about 0.3 of a second on Frosty Calvin there.
Joey gaining massively on Max here. Max on 16 lap old hards, so he's going to start feeling the wear of that. But as long as he can keep Joey behind him, that'll be good for him, as he will hold the leader up. So he does touch the grass there, so maybe he's needing to turn in a bit earlier to make sure that he makes the corners on these wear hards.
And while we have been watching these battles, Feltfries has not left SVDL, or rather SVDL has not left Feltfries, as SVDL is only about 0.4 of a second ahead, and Casey is starting to catch that Ferrari as well. So I do believe that even though Freeze is able to keep with SVDL, that those soft tires are starting to show their life, and Casey on the mediums is starting to catch him. But I will be looking for SVDL to pit momentarily, maybe not this lap, but in the coming laps, as he's already got 16 laps on those hard tires, and we were talking about the window maybe being about 20 laps or so. Casey, meanwhile, he's going to duck into the pits right now. So from the third position, Casey will pit.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting one from Casey. I think he saw that he had the pace advantages. Freeze, as we were talking about it, does have the DRS, does go around the outside. Is there contact? I think there was a bit of contact, but Freeze does get the move done, and now he's got the fresh air he needs, and there is a virtual safety car. So as I said, he has the fresh air, he can get away. No, not so fast, Mr. Freeze. You've got to wait for the VSC to do its time.
And that actually will help Freeze just a little bit, because he can kind of reel it back in and just calm down for a minute and be able to save his tires for at least a few corners. He probably would have preferred a safety car, and he could have got a free pit stop out of it, and I would imagine that we would see SVDL pit under a safety car as well. But with just a virtual, I say that these drivers are going to stay out. I imagine that what's going through Freeze's mind at this point is just pitting at the same time that SVDL does, or even a lap later if he has to, because with him being out ahead, it's really hard to predict what the guy is going to do behind you.
Well, I think what Freeze is hoping from his tyres and what he thinks SVDL is going to do, as soon as he sees SVDL, you know, lose a bit of grip, lose a lot of time off him, because they're both going to be worn out soon. So as soon as he sees a massive time difference, he's going to look to dive into the pits, because he will want to try and be on the same tyres as SVDL, so he can keep the same pace with him, rather than having to pit now and maybe go onto the hards when SVDL will be able to long it out and go onto the softs. Freeze is going to hope that he can take these tyres to the same window as him.
Yeah, and it's going to be very close. Of course, the virtual safety car helping out SVDL as well, helping out every driver just in order to save their tires just a little bit longer. So now as we're back under green, SVDL is actually having trouble staying with Freeze, so those soft tires are really paying off for him, at least for the time being. Max P and the Haas is starting to catch the Toro Rosso there. Not sure if he's going to be able to make anything of it, because as we have been talking about, they are approaching the end of their window before too long on those hard tires, lap 21 of 33 right now. So just a little bit over 12 laps to go here in the Spanish Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the tyre age, you've got 9 laps from Freeze, 9 laps from Jovi, 9 laps from Calvin, pretty much all 9 laps except the bottom 3 runners. And then you have the 2 lone wolves, SVDL and Max P, both on 18 lap old tyres. So they've really longed it out. They played for track position. They didn't want to pit on the safety car, because I think they believed they'd be able to keep the pace with the faster runners. Freeze now on 10 laps. Cielsa comes in, so 9 laps on the soft. Cielsa says, I'm done here. He will most likely go into the mediums. He shouldn't go into the hards from this position. Yeah, he has fitted the mediums here. Oh, change of front wing. What happened to Cielsa? I'm not sure if you caught that, Tim, but he had to make a change on his front wing, so there must have been collision somewhere. But now it's going to be a recovery race from him, as he is 12 seconds of Casey in 9th, who's also in his own race. So is Raphael, and then the top 7 are covered by just 4 seconds, so very even pace between the rest of the drivers in the top 7.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Cesa there. I did not see any contact that he had, but apparently, as you said, he must have. And it looked like the Williams of Jory getting a little bit loose out of that last corner as he's giving chase to the Haas of Max P. Jory with 10-lap old tires versus 19 laps on Max's tires. So Jory just kind of trying to play it safe here so far. Not looking like he's trying to put any more risks after sliding there just a little bit.
Freeze dips into the pits, so Freeze does dive into the pits here to release SVDL, so he will, I mean, he did 11 laps on the softs, so no, he will move on to the mediums. He probably didn't have any more fresh soft tyres, so he does go on to the mediums, so he will have 10 laps to try and make up the positions. I mean, he's gone for the undercut here, most likely, as Jory does gain the position on Max. I've just seen that. So this has been a good recovery from Jory after falling quite low down after his pit stop. But SVDL, surely he's got to react to Freeze coming in and get on the same compound tyres, you got to think.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, Jory, we might be looking at a win from Jory here. It's still a little bit early to tell, but it's not an impossible scenario to think that he could go another 10 laps on those hard tires. So Jory so far sitting in the catbird seat and ready to inherit the lead when SVDL decides to duck into the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely could last those 10 laps, as SVDL has done 20 laps on his hards, and I mean, it's definitely going to be a close one to call, because at the moment the top 6 have only done one stop, and it's, will their tyres be able to last that one stop? I know Calvin's won't, as he's on the 12 lap old medium, so he would definitely have to pit in again. But I mean, the positions gained, SVDL's gone up 15, starting from 16 on the grid after getting a terminal collision with, I think it was Instinct, and then also Max P gaining 11 positions. So drivers have been gaining massive positions, but we'll have to probably lose them after pit stops are done with them.
Yeah, currently I'm watching the battle between APG Cortez and Stain. Stain, he got a little bit close to Cortez just a few corners ago, but it looks like Cortez has put the distance back between the two. Just over 0.6 of a second separating these two drivers. Stain going just a little bit wide, but keeping it out of the gravel. So a good job by Stain there. It looks like he just might be struggling on those 12-lap old tires, and those aren't entirely that old of tires, but nonetheless, still struggling for grip, it looks like, from Stain.
I mean, hard tyres aren't grippy anyway. They're not that grippy, so no matter how 12 laps isn't old for them, but they're not going to have the same amount of grip as, you know, maybe newer. Well, they're definitely not going to have the same grip as newer hards. That's a very obvious thing for me to say, but they're gonna start to lose grip, but they lose grip less steeply. They lose it, you know, gradually, and so you don't see the lap times drop off as quick as you would do, say, on mediums like Calvin is, as he's losing temps to Max P here. It's all bit of a back end slide there from Calvin, but he does hold it, but lose a couple temps there on Max P. But I mean, when will we see SVDL and Max pit, Tim? Because I mean, they haven't shown signs of wanting to pit, but they're definitely going to have to. They're not going to be able to last 28 laps or so on them hard tyres, will they?
They might be, but I cannot imagine how awful the car would be driving by that time. It all just depends on how much they were really able to save during the safety car, and really just throughout the stint under green flag conditions as well. Because you got to remember, we have had about 2 or 3 virtual safety cars throughout the course of the race, and 1 full safety car, or actually I believe 2. So that might have been enough of a difference for SVDL to be able to at least think he could stretch it out. But just as we say that, Max P is actually going into the pit, so he's had enough. SVDL, he might try to stretch it, but that's going to be a mammoth task.
Oh, the Renault of Instinct spins it through the right-hander, but does keep it on the track, so he's good to go again. As Freeze does go fastest, sets the fastest lap on the mediums, as he's going side by side with Raphael, and he gets to move round the outside into the first corner. What a move from Freeze. He's not hanging about, is he?
No, he is not, and he's a man on a mission. He's got fresh medium, so he does have the speed there. And Raphael, with 14 laps on those hards, looks like he's just really struggling. KZ with 6 laps on the mediums, so he's going to have to deal with freeze here in just a little bit, though it's not a huge significant difference between tire age. Nonetheless, it just matters of which driver has saved better, staying in front of them, but 10 seconds in front of KZ, so he's not going to be a factor anytime soon, but he might pit before it's over with. Of course, that's going to be very close to call. Frosty Calvin, though, during all of this, has been able to gain back up into third position. SVDL still running in the first position and bypassing the pits yet again. So SVDL going to try to stay out for at least one more lap.
I mean, looking at Max, he's done what I said he would do. Last it quite a while on the hard so you can get onto the soft tyres and have a last blast. And I think that is exactly what he's doing here. He's gone onto the soft, so he's got 7 laps to contend with on these softs. So let's see how much time he can gain, because I think he's already gained about 1.5 seconds on Raphael ahead. Oh, I think, what's happened? Did Joey go into the pits? No, Joey's been overtaken by Calvin. So Calvin's making the 15 lap old mediums work for him. Joey looks like he's struggling on the hards. So he may be wanting to go to the end of the race. He probably could. If SVDL's gone 24 laps on the hard, Joey can definitely make. I think that will come out to just 22 laps on the hard, so he should be able to make that work. But he's got the pressure of Cortez behind him and Calvin, so he's losing pace through this last little stint here.
Yeah, and something that I theorized might have happened with Joey is that he might have just used his stuff up trying to catch SVDL. And so now he's having to deal with tires that are worn out because Cortez is all up on the back of Joey.
SVDL misses the pits again. He goes on for another lap. When will this guy come into pit again? Or maybe he won't. Surely he has to come in. He's done a massive one stop. He's almost done the entire race on the hard tyres.
And meanwhile, Cortez was able to get around Joey going into turn 1 using that DRS, and Cortez is now gone. So I do believe that Joey has just worn out his tires, and he's just trying to limp it home to the end of the race. Cortez, meanwhile, trying to give chase to Frosty Calvin, who is just 0.8 of a second ahead of him.
Yeah, that's going to be disappointing for Joey. You know, started second on the mediums, had a good strategy, and obviously SVDL has just massaged his tyres to last so long. But surely, if he doesn't come into the pit this lap, there's no way he'll be coming into the pits at all.
Well, we've got about 5 laps to go in this race, so if SVDL is trying to stay out, then that will be 30 laps on the hard tires. It sounds doable, but as I said, I can't imagine how the car will be driving by the end of it. But if he finishes first, I'm sure he doesn't care how it's driving or if it even has 4 wheels on it, as long as he's credited with the win.
I mean, if he is credited with the win, what a win it would be for him. He's going to be so chuffed. Starting from 16 on the grid after being crashed out, I think, by Instinct Energy, who has left the session a while back now. But I mean, he will be chuffed starting from 16th, making the strategy work. As veteran, again, another 3-second time penalty. That's gonna have to be about 12 seconds now as he does eventually leave. He is fed up with getting the penalties and thinks, yeah, this race is over for me.
Meanwhile, Cortez is just kind of trying to bide his time behind Frosty Calvin, and I'm surprised to see Calvin with 17 laps on those medium tires and not dropping back as much as maybe I would think. As APG Cortez, 17 laps on those hard tires, it looks like he's struggling a little bit more than the Red Bull is.
Yeah, I think SVDL, I think that's the reason he's going to want to stay out, because he sees Calvin on those 17 lap hard mediums, but I think Cortez is now gaining on the Red Bull as KZ gets a 3-second time penalty, so that will promote Freeze up into 6th. And KZ dropped down to 7th, which will be disappointing for KZ, starting again on pole this race, and his just strategy hasn't paid out for him as it has for other drivers.
That it has not And strategy really didn't pay out for the drivers who took softs on that last safety car stop either. That was Felfries and Sesa, who are running in 7th and 10th. So definitely not the finish that they are going to want to be looking at here. And SVDL still 27 laps on those tires, lap 30 of 33. So he is leading by 3.1 seconds over the Red Bull of Frosty Calvin, who is 1.9 seconds ahead of APG Cortez in the Ferrari that is on your screen right now. So the driver's starting to spread out a little bit here. Nobody in DRS range from anyone else. But with lap 30 of 33, only a few laps to go, SVDL looks like it is his to lose.
Definitely. It's going to be a tough drive out here from him, because 27 lap old hards are not going to be the best tyres to drive on at the moment. But at the moment he's making work, so you got to give it to him. But Celsius, he's going to be disappointed, because with his strategy he probably couldn't have finished maybe in 8th, maybe in 7th, but due to that whole front wing, or that front wing change, he got demoted back to 10th. But he is going to get some points today, so he should be happy with that. Add to his 10-point tally to give him 11 on the season. SVDL would pick up the 25 points, move him on to 68, so a massive points hole for him today. But I mean, it's been a very interesting race to watch on strategy, as I don't think the drivers even knew going into this race how many VSCs there'll be, how many safety cars there'll be. So it's been a massive toss-up to the wind, really, who's going to win.
That it has, but you know, that's what I like to see. Is it's never any fun watching a race when you already know who's going to win just entering into it. But here in the Formula Euro League, we've got a lot of diversity with the competition and a lot of different skill levels. So, but they're all still really close on timed laps. Actually, you saw Frosty Calvin through that set of corners getting a little bit upset through his corner.
Yeah, Cielsa, it's coming to the pits again. I'm not sure why. He might just be fitting. Don't know what he's doing. Oh, he needed another wing change. So Cielsa lost his wing again and had to make another wing change. So he's gone onto the soft. So I think he's just going to say screw it and go for a fastest lap here, which is fair play. I mean, he could have quit, he could have stopped, but no. He's going to finish the race strong, but he's going to have to get out of SVDL's way here as he comes towards him, but he does go to the edge of the trap. So 2 laps left. SVDL leads from APG Cortez by just under 4 seconds. He has 9 laps younger tyres. Stingy in third with a good recovery drive to get into third at the moment. Calvin is dropping back, so those mediums are done. Those mediums reached the cut-off point. Jory, I've just noticed, has dropped back to 7th. He's dropping back even further. But he's got Freeze ahead of him on softer tyres, so he might have to settle for 7th.
Yeah, I've been watching this battle and watching Jory drop back. There was a little bit of contact between KZ and Jory going down the front straightaway, and then as KZ eventually was able to go by, it allowed Felfries to just follow him through. So Jory losing a lot of positions with those 20 laps old tires. Going back to the lead, though, to take a look at SVDL, who momentarily will be taking the white flag. So this is going to be his last lap, and it looks like it is still his race to lose, as he now has a 3.1 second lead over the Ferrari of APG Cortez, and that is 30 laps on SVDL's tires. And he is a man on a mission. He's done a very good job thus far of saving those tires to make it to the end of the race. Did not think that he was going to be able to do that until just a few laps ago when he just kept staying out. But he still has to make it around the last few corners.
I mean, after the qualifying session, I counted SVDL out of it. You're starting 16th. You know, yes, you have the free range of tyres, but you're so far back. It's going to be a troubles to get even into the top 5, let alone win the race. And he's just proven that his strategy has been perfect, and that is why he leads the championship as at the moment, and will lead it for the foreseeable future if he brings his car around.
A good showing from SVDL in the Toro Rosso indeed. He's going to be the only Toro Rosso driver to score points in this race, but it's going to be a win, so I'm sure that he is not going to complain about that in the least bit. Just rounding the final chicane here for SVDL and going to round the final corner. He will cross the line. SVDL, the winner of the Spanish Grand Prix for the Formula EuroLeague Tier 3 Series. APG Cortez in the Ferrari going to come in second, followed by Stain in third in the Williams. Frosty Calvin in the Red Bull being able to hang on for a nice fourth place finish. KZ in fifth, but Frosty Calvin will drop down to fifth after time penalties, which will put Fel Fries up into fourth in the Ferrari. So Joey going to finish in seventh, KZ sixth. Max is going to be in the eighth position so far. Rafael going to cross the line now. He will wind up in ninth. Sesa in 10th, so still a points day for Sesa once he is able to reach the checkered flag. And Veteran going to, of course, come in the 11th position. Instinct Energy in 12th, Charles Leclerc 82 in 13th, 14th is David, Trex in 15th, Harvkosh in 16th, 17th it's Jake, and Junior Spam in 18th. All of those drivers, of course, suffering either a DNF or DNS in this race.
I mean, SVDL is going to be very happy with this result after getting a second place in Bahrain the race prior, only finishing under a second behind TTP Cortez in a Ferrari who won last time out. So it's been a good result for SVDL, and he will gain a gap on Joey, as Joey will finish 7th in the race. So SVDL is your winner of the Spanish Grand Prix here in Formula EuroLeague Tier 3.
I think overall it was a really good race to watch. Had a little bit of carnage, which brought out some safety cars, but that definitely played into SVDL's hands. That was able to allow him to just sort of slow down and maybe even have been the deciding factor of staying out 31 laps on those hard tires to win this race.
You know, I'd love to know what was going through SVDL's mind when he's looking at his tyre graph 27 laps in and thinking, yeah, these can go to the end, because surely they would have been about 60%, maybe even 70%. So they were definitely going off the cliff. But there is your final results of today's race. Many penalties. Stingy with a 3-second one, but still keeps his third place. So it is SVDL who leads TTP Cortez. So grid reversal for them two from last time out. So Stingy third, Fries finishes fourth. Calvin 5th, KZ 6th, Jory 7th, Max 8th, Rafael 9th, Celsa 10th, Veterano 11th, Instinct 12th, Leclerc 13th, David 14th, Trex 15th, Harv 16th, and Jake in 17th.
Well, it was a good and exciting race for the Formula EuroLeague Tier 3 Series from Barcelona, but it has now come to a close. Alex, it was really nice working with you. To all the viewers who tuned in,
Tim.
Thank you, Alex. And to all the viewers tuning in, thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can follow the Twitch channel, and you can sign up for notifications so that you will be able to be notified every time we go live. And with that, we're signing off. Good day.